A family with more drive and determination. So I think everything's pointing at Chris Eubank Jr. But I think I might have a sneaky few quid on Conor, to be honest with you. His drive and his confidence and his self-belief is something that I've only ever seen in a handful of people.
One thing about Conor is that Conor's a heavy. He's like a heavy welterweight. You know what I mean? He's quite big. Fills into the weight quite well. I think that'll be an amazing fight.
Just a victory. Do you know what I mean? A stoppage. I'll be gunning for the stoppage. No doubt. As I always do every single fight.
A more motivated and resolute family. To be honest with you, I believe that everything is aimed at Chris Eubank Jr., but I also believe that I could have a few pounds on Conor. His determination, self-assurance, and faith in himself are qualities that I've only ever seen in a select few. One characteristic of Conor is that he weighs a lot, like a huge welterweight. You understand that he's pretty large, fits the weight really well. So I believe the battle will be fantastic. Just a victory, by which I mean the stoppage. I will undoubtedly be aiming for it. The impending bout between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. carries the weight of one of boxing's most legendary family rivalries, as I usually do with every battle. However, a number of the most reputable voices in the sport maintain that Benn's combination of fierceness, speed, power, and relentless pressure will result in Eubank Jr.'s complete devastation. His belief stems from his hunger brought on by a career setback and personal injustice, his father Nigel Benn's guidance, and the resounding support of icons like Ricky Hatton. Bellew, Tony Adam Azim, and Liam Smith insiders feel that Benn's psychological edge, tactical skill in tight quarters, and even a contractual change that favors his inside game, along with his raw physicality, will overwhelm Eubank Jr. early and force a halt well before the final bell rings. Conor adversity has plagued Benn's return to the ring, including a well-publicized suspension after positive clomiphene tests that caused his first showdown to fail in October 2022 and kept him out of action until November 2024. Benn's concentration was intensified.
It makes no difference to me what he does, what he thinks. I really could not care less. Because regardless, I'm going to come out there, a couple of hot skips and a big right hand to his temple. He can prepare for that.
Sparring's the next best thing to actually fighting. The stuff that we've been doing on the pads, on the bag, and what we've been talking about technically, we'll try all them things out in sparring, and that's what sparring really is.
By the experience of public scrutiny, legal battles, and personal resolve, this reinforces notion that he must make a strong statement upon his return. The experience didn't make him less confident. On the contrary, it fueled his fire and gave him an attitude of redemption that few opponents have. Benn has publicly talked about feeling reborn in the gym in the days before the fight, transforming his disappointment and aggravation into a relentlessness that threatens to overwhelm any opponent who undervalues him. I don't care what he does or what he believes. I don't really care because I'm going to give him a couple sexy skips and a big right hand to the temple anyhow. You can get ready for that. The next best thing to really fighting the things we've been practicing on the bag's pads and discussing technically is sparring. We'll experiment with anything in sparring, which is what it truly is. Nigel won half of the original Benn versus Eubank rivalry. Benn, a former world champion, has categorically stated that his son is not just looking for success, but also plans to destroy Chris Eubank Jr. in February 2025. Speaking to Vision for Sport, you're going to see a formidable destroyer in that ring, Nigel Benn underlined, and Conor is on a mission. His confidence is based on his close understanding of his son's skills, which were developed throughout his early years through exposure to competitive boxing settings and intense sparring sessions that mimicked actual battles. Nigel's self-assurance goes beyond simple father pride. It demonstrates a strong belief that Benn's aggressiveness, technical prowess, and pure willpower make him a weapon that will destroy Eubank Jr.'s defenses. One of Britain's most adored boxers, Ricky Hatton, has also supported...
It's really interesting to think, to be honest with you. I mean, Conor's going up for, two weight divisions. He's not fought anyone like the people that Eubank Jr. has fought, at his own weight, let alone 2 weights above. So it'll be very interesting. But Conor has a huge self-belief and drive, to be honest with you. A drive like his dad. The Benn family, I've never seen a family with more drive and determination. So I think everything's pointing at Chris Eubank Jr. But I think I might have a sneaky few quid on Conor, to be honest with you. His drive and his confidence and his self-belief is something that I've only ever seen in a handful of people, and he's going to need that. And I think that might be enough against Eubank.
Ben's chances, citing his greater speed, drive, and freshness as crucial advantages. Hatton and fellow analyst Adam Azim have pointed out that Benn has timed his return flawlessly, coming back from a lengthy break feeling rejuvenated, whereas Eubank Jr. is taking a brief break, following a January 2025 tune-up. Azim went on to say that Benn's youth and hunger translated into a relentless forward march that gave him the ability to control the fight's tempo and put an end to any offensive glimmers from Eubank Jr. Hatton noted that Benn's legs will carry him with snap and endurance in the weight-drained atmosphere of middleweight competition, something Eubank Jr., who is subject to a rigorous rehydration clause, might find difficult to equal. To be quite honest with you, I find it fascinating that Conor is competing in two weight divisions. He hasn't engaged in combat with somebody like Eubank Jr., who has faced opponents twice his own weight. To be honest, it will be very interesting, but Conor has a lot of drive and self-belief, just like his dad. I've never seen a family with more drive and determination, so I believe that everything is pointing at Chris Eubank Jr., but I also think that I might have a few extra pounds on Conor. His drive, confidence, and self-belief are qualities that I've only ever seen in a select few people, so I think that might be enough against Eubank. Tony Bello, a contemporary legend whose understanding of the mechanics of major events is unmatched, predicted that Benn would win the first few rounds before Eubank Jr. could take advantage of his stature. Bello claimed in an interview with TalkSport that Conor Benn will win the
I think Eubank beats him on points.
Eubank Benn. What do you think happens?
You know what, I'm a little bit torn at the minute, but I'll stick with what I've always said. I think Eubank beats him on points, but I won't be surprised if Conor wins. I think Eubank is firmly on the slide, and I know I get stick for saying that. I also think 160 is hitting him now. He's started to mention it a few times, so that's why I bring Conor into it a little bit more. But like I said before, that being said, if Conor flattens Chris, I won't be surprised. I won't be like, wow, Conor's just knocked Chris out. And if Chris was the same to Conor, I won't be surprised, because Conor's been down, many times before off journeyman, lesser punches than Chris, so I won't be surprised with the outcome, but I do think it's a closer fight this time round.
First 6 rounds. 6 rounds. He won't be able to stop Conor Benn. Bello's analysis depends on Benn's ability to quickly reduce space, unleash compact combinations, and maintain crushing pressure, negating Eubank Jr.'s technical counterpunching and lateral movement. Bello emphasizes that if Benn capitalizes completely before the halfway point, the fight will be practically over because Eubank Jr. will be too injured and discouraged to make a return. Even though he acknowledges that size may become an issue in the latter rounds, the only man to professionally stop Eubank Jr., Liam Smith, has provided Benn with the blueprint to accomplish the same thing. Smith's shocking stoppage in January 2023 depended on taking advantage of Eubank Jr.'s sporadic defensive errors and propensity to get unguarded when under constant attack. He warns that Eubank Jr. will find it difficult to recover if hit by volley after volley in close quarters, and counsels Benn to use the same inner battle and determination that allowed him to land the fight-turning punches. Smith commends Benn for his increased technical skill, pointing out that the younger fighter has improved his jabbing, refined his combos, and learned how to cut off the ring. They will all be essential to recreating the circumstances that led to Smith's knockout. I believe Eubank outperforms me. Your bank, what do you think happens, Ben? I'm a little conflicted right now, but I'll stick to what I've always